All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're not just looking at a company, we're opening up a case file. The subject? A company called Bodhi Tree Multimedia, whose financials, honestly, read a bit like a mystery novel. So let's put on our detective hat, shall we? We're going to piece together the clues to figure out what's really going on.
And this, right here, is the central mystery. Have you ever seen this? A company reports huge profits one quarter, and then, seemingly out of nowhere, a sudden loss the next. It's confusing, right? It makes you wonder, is this business booming, or is it about to go bust? Well, that's the exact puzzle we're here to solve, using Bodhi Tree as our case study.
Just look at this. The evidence is laid out right in front of us. For the entire 2023 financial year, Bodhi Tree had a solid profit of over 3 crore. Pretty good. But then, bam! In the third quarter of 2024, a loss of nearly 90 lakhs. And just when you think you see a downward trend, they come roaring back with a 1.2 crore profit. See, these aren't just numbers. They're the plot twists we need to investigate.
So, welcome to the Bodhi Tree case. Our mission today is simple. Go beyond these headline numbers and find the real story. We need to understand the how and the why behind these massive swings. And to do that, we're going to dig into their financial statements, which is the closest thing we'll ever get to reading a company's private diary.
Every good detective knows you have to follow the evidence. For us, that evidence comes in 3 key documents. Think of them as 3 different pieces of the puzzle. Each one tells a slightly different part of the story. So let's get started with our very first clue. Our first stop on this investigation. We're going to follow the money trail. And the map for that is the income statement. This document is all about the flow of money, what came in as revenue and what went right back out as expenses. It's the most straightforward way to see if a company actually made money or lost it over a certain period.
The income statement, you'll also hear it called the P&L for profit and loss, does exactly what its name suggests. It takes all the money the company made, subtracts all the costs of running the business, and whatever is left over, well, that's the famous bottom line, the net profit or loss. It's a simple idea, but a really powerful piece of evidence.
And this slide tells it all. It's a tale of 2 very different quarters. On the left, we have the quarter where they lost money. You can see why. Revenue is tiny, just 0.85 crore, while expenses were more than double that. But then, look at the right side, the recovery. Revenue absolutely exploded to over 12 crore. Now, even with higher expenses, that huge surge in income pushed them right back into profit. The main takeaway, this whole roller coaster ride was almost entirely driven by revenue.
Okay, so we've kind of cracked the first part of the case. The wild swings are because of inconsistent revenue. But a single good quarter doesn't tell us if the company is built to last. Is the foundation solid? To answer that, we need to bring in our second clue, which is the balance sheet. Now, if the income statement is like a movie of the company's performance over a few months, the balance sheet is more like a photograph, a snapshot in time. It tells us on one specific day what the company owns, its assets, and what it owes, its liabilities. This is how we check the foundations.
This chart gives us a great breakdown. You can see Bodhi Tree has a lot of its value tied up in inventories. That's basically all the TV shows and content they've produced but haven't sold yet. Then there's trade receivables. That's money that their clients owe them for work they've already delivered. Think of it as a bunch of IOUs from their customers.
So when you add all of that up, the inventory, the IOUs, the cash they have, their equipment, the total value of everything Bodhi Tree owns comes out to a whopping 66.7 crore rupees. That gives us a really good sense of the company's size.
Now for the other side of the coin, that's what they own. But what do they owe? Well, their total liabilities add up to 38.8 crore. This is stuff like bank loans or money they owe to their own suppliers. Comparing these two numbers is like a quick financial health check. So with assets of 66.7 crore and liabilities of 38.8 crore, the foundation looks pretty sturdy. They own significantly more than they owe. But our investigation isn't over yet. There's one final clue we have to examine. And let me tell you, this is often where the biggest secrets are hiding. And that brings us to the cash flow statement. This document, well, it's the ultimate truth teller. It couldn't care less about accounting rules or promises to pay later. It tracks one thing and one thing only: actual hard cash moving into and out of the company's bank account. This quote just nails why this last clue is so critical. Profit is an opinion, cash is a fact. See, profit can be influenced by all sorts of accounting decisions, but cash is undeniable. It's either there or it isn't. Simple as that. And here it is, the biggest plot twist in our entire case. In the first half of 2024, the income statement, the profit and loss, showed a profit of almost 90 lakhs. Looks great, right? But the cash flow statement tells a shockingly different story. During that exact same period, the company's day-to-day operations actually burned through nearly 14 crore in cash.
Now, this is the question that really gets to the heart of financial analysis. How on earth is this possible? How can you be making a profit on paper but have cash just pouring out of the business? I know it sounds like a contradiction, but there is a perfectly logical explanation.
So, where did all that cash go? Well, first, the company spent 5.5 crore of its cash to produce new shows and content. That's building its inventory. On top of that, they made sales that were worth 11 crore, but they're still waiting for their customers to actually pay the bills. So the money isn't lost, it's just tied up. It's been invested in future products, and it's sitting in their customers' bank accounts. This is a classic sign of a company that's investing in growth.
Okay, we've examined all three of our clues: the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. It's time. Let's bring all this evidence together and deliver our final verdict on the Bodhi Tree case.
So, here is the story we've pieced together. The income statement showed us that their performance is choppy because their revenue is project-based. It comes in big, inconsistent waves. The balance sheet showed that despite that, the company is fundamentally sound. It owns a lot more than it owes. And finally, the cash flow statement revealed the big secret. The reason they're burning through cash isn't because they're failing, but because they're aggressively investing in new projects for the future.
So, the final verdict is that Bodhi Tree isn't a company in trouble. It's a project-based business in a major growth phase. When you look at all three reports together, you don't see chaos. You see a clear story of volatility, smart investment, and getting ready for future projects. It really drives home the point. These numbers aren't just numbers, they're a narrative.
And that's really the big takeaway from all of this. Every set of financial statements tells a story, just like this one. It's a story of strategy, of challenges, and of ambition. The only question is, are you looking at all the clues? What story are you missing?